Once upon a time, in the not-so-distant future past, when the sun shone bright and the moon danced in her light, they made a book of knowing. I think I saw the end begin, but didn't think it through. A book of knowing, which came only from a searching and a certain special curiosity, which maybe only belongs to the small of our kind. The young, inquisitive, restless and joy-squeezed, forming and continually reshaping ones. But oh, how we like it ordered, in boxes of colours and ages. But we seed a company of the small of our kind, searching behind the front of things, for things that were tiny big and slowly quick, the feathered free and shiny wets, and the furry ever so watchfuls. And the small of our kind would wander and wonder at the tiny bigs and hear them click and buzz on top of the underside and see them weave their delicate nets with their limbering legs, watching them change in wondrous ways. Their shiny backs explode and they would lift off and fly. Oh, the tiny bigs and the small of our kind would watch them and play. And it was okay to climb trees and weave leaves. They waited long and short for the slowly quicks, searching in the grass long, on daylight rocks hot, by the limpid pools to hear the wet dry throb, a weaving line, cautious, creeping, sliding with skittering stillness. Watching the furry ever so watchfuls in whispering meadows and tunnel woods. Waiting, ruefully running, jumping to hide, hold on, hold up, lie in wait. Abiding in their intermoonlight. The feathered free, who would hover and perch, soar and flutter, forever leading small eyes into the sky, leaving them wondering from which of their springing jumps gravity would let go, and they would join their singing friends in the blue, white and grey. So they wandered far and wide, dancing with the creatures for whom they had grown to love and care. They marvelled at the differences of each one, how they had become specially made for their own spaces and places. And also, they began to see that all was not well. A wind changed and the sun became hazy. The clouds were no longer tasty and changed their colour too often, and the feathered free moved across to near and distant lands with grace, though their order was confused. The tiny bigs wrestled with the night and day, and the furry ever so watchfuls nursed their cubs and kittens. And the sun and the moon continued their dance, waiting, watching. They saw that in the warming oceans great cetaceans took their cubs to new depths and distant seas in search of food. The symmetrical sound of hammers and drills was now a new heartbeat, and heat and smoke which did not come from the earth began to arise, and a clock was heard to tick. And the constant counting of zeros and ones. 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. A shot rang out, and a barrel of oil was spilled. And so it was that sometimes the small of our kind would become distracted from their search in the earth and trees and sky, and become engrossed in the counting of the zeros and the ones. 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. And we did not notice that it was in our race to make the perfect place. We took away all our places and their places too. The moon sensed a change, feeling footsteps in her dust, and she spoke to the sun. They saw people as farmland became devoid of all kinds of flowers, and a dark winter fell. One day or night came, why time, spinning earth? And the darkening sun gave us the warning, and the moon in her stillness continued to change. The parents lament, when everything seems changed. Hills are white, earth is blue, crimson trees interlace the green sky, their twisted limbs straining for some incarnation of release. The black sun absorbs all tenderness. Tides flow without gravity, and my mind finds only shadows in the dance of light. And maybe it is music and art which give cadence to the fall of leaves, mingled with tears. One chance came, and the small of our kind happened upon, in the thorniest of places, where the slowly quicks slithered, and prickles and berries cut and stained their hands. A simple brush on the ground, and a wise one spoke to them of the joy of creating and painting. She spoke of release and new life. Go, make of the moon a dance, and let not symmetry take your eye and pull you in. Wear your music like your courage and fly, for the rose has always been wild and of savage descent. The small of our kind were uncertain, and as she held out the brush, she welcomed and encouraged them to see once more the places laid waste, and yet they felt hope. She spoke again. I would turn from these stones and see their layers and fragments, turn from their settlement by rough hands, birthed in the plough and fire. See this tree in fungal form, cells aged, waterborne, fed on decay by the seeming path, moving step by step, its substance evolved from ancestral woods to future spring. Ah, spring! And here would be the painting to bring release. The small of our kind began to work and beckoned to their former friends, and the tiny bigs looked on, and the furry ever so watchfuls came to see. The party continued, and the slowly quicks slithered and skittered, looking for a home.